Number 100.
Double Dragon. Double Dragon is a game I only played a little bit growing up, but I really fell in love with it when I did a video on it sometime last year. Mainly because I played so much of it, and I got to the point where I was good enough to get through most of the game without dying once. And I just love that beat-em-up gameplay on the NES. It's really, really fun, it's really addicting, and the only downside is that it's not two-player co-op.
Super Smash Bros. Melee. Super Smash Bros. Melee was the second game in the Super Smash Bros. Series and released for the Nintendo GameCube. At its core, Super Smash Bros. Melee is strictly a fighting game starring your favorite Nintendo characters. Melee is a great game because it catered to people who were looking for a tactical fighter, but at the same time, were also the people who might just look for a chaotic party game. You could take yourself and play solo, you could play with 3 friends. It has a universal and lasting appeal, and even with newer releases in the series out nowadays, there are still a lot of people who go back to Melee, myself included. With that in mind, it's no surprise to me that Super Smash Bros. Melee has made the CartridgeClub 100.
Duke Nukem 3D, a first-person shooter where our hero is the only one who can save the world and all of our babes. I remember all the prep work that went into getting Duke Nukem to work over a dial-up modem, convincing your family not to use the phone, hoping your parents wouldn't walk in while you were in the strip club, and tricking your friends with a Holo Duke. I have to get back to playing this game.
Trying to get clean. He says wash your hands, get out the stains, but you best believe, boy, there's hell to pay. Yeah, you best believe, boy, there's hell to pay. Saying
Dark Souls. Wow. It is a dark, atmospheric, hauntingly beautiful, and unforgiving game. If you like slow, methodical action RPGs where you level up as a player rather than as your character, then this is your game. The world is beautifully crafted, and everything comes together so organically that you'll actually feel the atmosphere as you walk around. Blighttown will depress you and push you to your limits. But trudge on, my undead friend. What's on the other side is so worth it. Dark Souls. Praise the sun.
Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts, an action RPG created by Square Enix, and was the first big crossover that no one ever asked for. Back in 2002, it was also one of the first big crossovers that we didn't know we wanted until we had it. Kingdom Hearts tells the increasingly convoluted tale of Sora, Goofy, and Donald as they adventure through various Disneylands and meet both Disney and Square characters along the way. I remember seeing Cloud in his weird getup in the Olympus Coliseum back in college on really grainy video, and how excited I was seeing this thing and seeing this character live on the screen amongst other characters from various franchises. It was extremely exciting. It also featured stellar music by Yoko Shimomura, an all-star cast including many of the original Disney voice actors. It's a beloved franchise and one that is well deserved. I've never thought of Mickey Mouse as being cool or badass until I saw him wielding keyblades in Kingdom Hearts.
Number 95.
Bobble. Despite this game having a dark, tragic story about 2 friends being turned into dragons and having to fight their way through the cave of monsters just to get turned back into humans again, the gameplay in this one is really damn fun. And all there is to it is to run around, trap enemies in bubbles, and then pop them. The gameplay is buttery smooth, the characters are charming as all hell, the soundtrack is absolutely wonderful, and not to mention, this game alone spawned a legacy of great sequels and spin-offs, such as Rainbow Islands and Puzzle Bobble. But as far as I'm concerned, Bubble Bobble is still the best in my books. and is one of the greatest video games of all time.
Tomb Raider. After 10 installments of some amazing highs and some upsetting lows in the franchise, Tomb Raider seems to have really found its footing here thanks to some really powerful hardware and an amazing development team. Lara Croft herself has been a fan favorite, but rather than seeing her usual badass charm, we instead get to see a much more vulnerable side as she sets off on what would be her first expedition. You follow her around the lost kingdom of Yamatai. You're uncovering secrets of Himiko, the Sun Queen, and all the while you're being hunted by the Solari Brotherhood. Now the visuals are spectacular, the combat's terrific, but the story itself, it has you intrigued and at the edge of your seat right into the final chapter. Tomb Raider takes what we know and love from the series and it ups the ante to rival some of the best AAA action-adventure titles out there. It's fun, it's exciting, it's satisfying. You gotta give it a try.
Burnout 3. Burnout 3 was more of a sleeper hit for me. I'm not a huge fan of racing games, but Burnout 3 added something great: takedowns. While racing, you can ram into your opponent trying to take them down and make them crash. There was even a race mode where you try to get as many takedowns as you can before your car is ruined. But my favorite part was the crash junctions. The goal is to cause as much monetary damage by crashing into an intersection and destroying as many vehicles as you can with your car and subsequent cars that are crashing into you. Then you can cause further damage by exploding your car at just the right time. You don't even have to play the races of this game to enjoy it. It is worth playing this game just for the crash junctions. My dad loved this game when we introduced it to him. When he'd come over, he would ask if we could set him up with that crash game. This is one of my favorite crash games too. I don't even see it as a racing game.
Left 4 Dead 2, a cooperative survival first-person shooter by the creators of Half-Life. The cooperative gameplay of this game is very important to be able to survive. This game is very fun to play with friends that you trust, or friends that you know are going to mess around and screw the whole thing up, but still make it fun. I was literally just playing this game 20 minutes ago for the first time in 4 years, and it was still awesome.
Number 91.
Fallout 3 was released on October 28th of 2008. This first-person action role-playing game plunges you into the year 2277, 100 years after a nuclear apocalypse has ravaged the world, destroying every major city. The game's plot has the protagonist emerging from the vault in search of his father. After emerging from the vault, you're greeted with a war-torn dystopian landscape in the Washington, D.C. area. From here on out, the rest of the game is open world, so it's up to you either to progress through the game's story or to completely ignore it and wander around. Among the most interesting aesthetics of Fallout 3 is the way the game portrays the future. The future in Fallout is viewed through an early 1900s lens, so rather than having the aesthetic look like the future would be if the real world was destroyed, it looks like the world as someone in 1930 would think of the future would look like if the world was destroyed. For instance, the technology in the game looks like it was designed in the 40s using technology from 2070. One of the greatest parts of Fallout 3 is its way of storytelling. The game offers you a world rich with story and wonder that'll continually have you wanting to explore it. This works extremely well for an open world of this size. The game's aesthetic continues to impress with great graphics and an amazing score, as well as a licensed soundtrack consisting of music from the 1930s to the 1940s. Fallout 3 truly stands out as one of the most impressive games on the 7th generation, and it's a world totally worth a visit.